Antioch was actually created in America, came out of a university campus in America. I believe it was the University of Notre Dame, but eventually it became reconfigured the program, become a parish-based youth ministry in America.
Well, I was privileged way back in 1981 to be in eastern suburbs Sydney when Antioch burst onto the Australian scene. It was brought back to Australia by a fabulous couple and their 4 children, Ron and Mavis Parola, who had been in the New Jersey area of the States. I still remember going with them to the build-up to the first ever Antioch weekend in Australia at Maroubra, eastern suburbs, and we went into this living room and there were about 20 young people preparing for the weekend, and the sense of vibrancy and fun and passion and commitment to their faith was just overwhelming for the 3 of us who saw it. And so I wanted that for our parish of Coogee. Then our little parish of Coogee, had a fabulous weekend in March of 1982. And from there it blossomed very quickly and went to Tasmania, Victoria, South Australia, Darwin and Perth, and went across the country very quickly way back then.
Antioch is a youth movement. It's a Catholic youth movement based around our Catholic values and our faith. It's an opportunity for young people 16 to 25 to actually gather on a weekly basis and actually share their faith, share their life experience as a youth-to-youth ministry.
The goal of the ministry, the way I like to look at it, is to capture hearts, to actually set hearts on fire with the Spirit. It's not necessarily about asking youth to take roles in particular things, but to fire their hearts so that they'll go out and do things with their faith and to actually live their faith in their day-to-day life.
The work that we're doing at Antioch I believe is very important. We're bringing the youth to the church in a way that the youth can relate to and get involved in.
We do approach young people after masses, and we give mass talks and we visit schools. Another thing that we really employ is social media. If we know people personally, siblings, partners, friends, neighbours, people you work with, and you think that they'd be interested, we talk to them about it. We are very, very much involved in social justice. In that we do a lot of things with new refugee families that come to Australia. We do a lot of social justice walks and activities. We also do a lot of things with homeless shelters and organisations like Vinnie's and St Vincent de Paul. At a primary school near us, we run youth discos and graduation ceremonies.
The typical way that an Antioch group would start in a parish, and it is very parish-based, is that some adults and a few youth from the parish would actually go on another group's weekend to experience, see what it's like, and from there, existing communities would help the new group to start in their own parish. At the beginning, it was a matter of getting interest and convincing people that this wasn't just for necessarily the kids who are already in the pews. Antioch Charism has often gone out and said where they'll recruit the youth from are from the local pubs, the local football clubs, the cool kids at school that were not necessarily churchgoers at the time. Often they had some kind of church affiliation, maybe their parents had sent them to a Catholic primary school. So this was actually not just preaching to the converted. This was very much about outreach and bringing children, youth into the church.
In Australia, we are so secular. The word youth group is almost, you can almost have a bit of a laugh when you hear, like, if you say, somebody at work, what are you doing on Sunday? Why'd you leave work early on Friday? Oh, I've got to go to a youth group. But it's so important because everywhere in the world you can't, it seems like in Australia you can't talk about being a Catholic in too many places without just inviting criticism. You can't talk about hurts without inviting criticism. You can't talk about really anything outside of, you can't talk about politics. The weather is about the only thing you can talk about to be safe. But in Antioch, that is not what we want for anybody in Antioch. You're supposed to be able to come here and talk about Christ and talk about your hurt and talk about your experiences in life, knowing that we will love you for who you are. We want to make you better and we want to help you and we want to show you Christ.
The way this ministry works is it's run by the youth for the youth. And there's no one person who has a lot of different roles. Everyone keeps getting different roles, so it's quite equal. You know, it's like no one's a leader, no one's like, there's no hierarchical order. Everyone's doing different things.
The regular activity for Antioch is the Sunday night meeting. There's a prayer meeting every Sunday night, typically sitting on the church foyer, on the floor, on cushions. And each week, one of the youth members prepare a talk that they share about their own personal experiences, something to do with their life. And this is the thing that gets them talking and thinking and sharing genuinely peer-to-peer about how they feel about their faith and their life and their life struggles. These are kids who go through everything that other kids go through. And that's the thing. It keeps them coming back, thinking and talking about their faith and sharing it and finding support from each other.
The Antioch weekend itself, we're trying to bring people closer to Jesus and to experience Christian community so that they will want to be part of this group. Something that really touches their hearts and make them feel closer to others and gives them a safe environment to talk about their faith. Because many of them, of course, can't talk openly about their faith because it's harder to be a believer in the world today. But Antioch provides a fabulous, safe environment. So that's what we're aiming at the weekend, to give them that experience and to help open their hearts so that they'll get to know Jesus and really want to continue on the journey with the community.
The outreach weekend is really, we used to do it about 8 years ago, twice a year, but these days it's mainly once a year. So we try to get recruits that are between 15 to 18. So we find that that's a good range to attract young people to start joining and begin their journey with Antioch. And then they usually stay for about at least 5 to 7 years. The recruitment drive is quite strong and quite a bit of work needed. So we realized as well that you can't have just 1 or 2 people doing it. The whole group needs to do it. So that's what they did this outreach. They activated the whole group to reach out so that they get new and younger people to come.
Every outreach weekend we have 2 or 3 hours or so dedicated to reconciliation. One of our members will share a passage about reconciliation and what it means to them, and then we break off into small groups or as individuals or in pairs, and we have an opportunity to sit with these people around us and talk about our faith, about our lives. On my first outreach weekend, I sat in that reco room for over an hour and spoke with a near stranger about some of the deepest parts of myself. I think that's one of the amazing things about Antioch.
And the youth actually do genuine outreach. They go and approach other youth who they may not know, but they've been given a name that somebody may be interested. They actually go to them and say, we would like you to come on this Catholic youth group weekend and experience it. So they're actually approaching strangers. They're on the phone to them. They visit them at their home. So this is deliberately outreach. Every year we'd have a weekend like this in each group where they invite new people in. So it's about regeneration all the time.
You have people coming and sharing talks about their life. So people come and talk about, if they're struggling in life, if they're going through some really bad times, if they're going through some dark times, if they've lost somebody. And these are not conversations you can have with people outside, like, at uni or like at work. So in a way, because of this whole environment of how everyone's so open with each other, it's made me and made everyone in this group feel so much more comfortable. In that group of people, I found God, in a sense, because everyone was so welcoming, everyone was so friendly, everyone was so, everything that I imagined God would be like if they were with you.
The talks especially are something that I really resonate with and I really connected with, because I joined at the end of high school, so that transition period between high school and going into university was a very difficult one for me. I didn't necessarily lose a lot of friends, but I lost that connection with a lot of people that I was very close with. So this group kind of provided that social aspect, especially as well. We spend a lot of time together, even outside of the Antioch kind of community. We do a lot of social things like basketball, and we go out to coffee and go to the beach and things like that. So we're a very social group and we're all very close. It's something that probably the best decision I ever made was coming to this group and really becoming a part of something that was so much bigger than me.
Can't really describe it just because it's such a good feeling, because you know the people in here have just got your back no matter what, and you can be open about anything and just not have to worry about judgment or any of the other kind of thing. It's just, you can say what's on your mind and not have the fear of someone ridiculing you or talking behind your back about something you've said or come open about. And it's so good because you can talk about your faith as much as you want, which you can't do in day-to-day life, and go up to anyone on the random street and be like, oh, did you see this, what happened? Or, oh, what do you think of this? It was in the Bible. Or what do you think Jesus did in this scenario? But here you can talk about that, and it's just very nice that we can all relate to the same things. Our friendship in this group is beyond anything. Like, even though I've only been in the group for 5 years, and some of the people have only been in the group for 1 year, it feels like we've known each other for a life.
Within Antioch, I've been heavily involved in music ministry. This involves singing at parish masses on a monthly basis. Music's been such a great opportunity for me to connect more with my faith. Through the wonderfully written music, I'm able to better discover Jesus and also connect with those in my community. Within the music ministry, we have a guitarist and 3 or 5 other singers that sing at each mass. It's a really great opportunity to develop a bond together. We are quite a close community and we really enjoy coming together to provide music for other parishioners.
One of the things I'd like to say is that I've seen some people grow in leadership. When you become a leader in Antioch, you develop skills of how to inspire other people, the young people, and how to lead them into a closer relationship with Jesus and into a sense of giving for the church and giving for others. So I know some people I've seen really blossom through Antioch. They've been more individualistic, more thinking about themselves, and in doing Antioch, they've actually become leaders in the church.
With the leadership in Antioch that I experienced, I was actually able to lead 2 weekends, which was quite unusual in my experience in other groups. But through the leadership skills that I developed and the confidence, that helped me to gain a job as a youth minister in a high school. And there I was able to organise masses, run retreats, minister to those young people with all the relationship skills I had developed through Antioch.
Being a part of Antioch has really helped me to grow my confidence and my understanding of how to share my faith, how to reach out to other people. Before Antioch, I was always every Sunday Catholic. I would altar serve in my parish and the like. Through Antioch, I really discovered the part of me that can actually reach out to other people and share my faith with other people, and hopefully ultimately bring people from outside of the church to be a part of it. There are so many great role models within this group, and they've really helped me to develop the kind of person that I want to be.
I think the biggest change is that my faith grew, and that didn't only affect me in Antioch, but it affected all aspects of my life. It affected how regularly I went to Mass, how regularly I went to reconciliation, how I let being a Christian define me in my jobs and in all of my other relationships and all my aspects of my personal life. My confidence also grew a lot. I was giving talks and I was speaking confidently, and so I was able to really share that in other professions and in other fields of my life.
While I was a Catholic all my life, I wasn't in a nurturing environment. I'd started to face challenges to my faith. I'd started experiencing people not believing in God at all, like not just of a different religion, but no God, anti-religion. So for me, Antioch was crucial in the development of my faith, of that nurturing. I had friends who were Christian and who accepted me unconditionally, which really helped my self-esteem, my confidence, and helped me to be open to nurturing that relationship with God.
Apart from going to Mass and just receiving the sacraments, until I joined Antioch, I just didn't have that same understanding and feel of community that I experienced in Antioch. Tanya invited me after we'd met in World Youth Day in Germany in 2005, and I went on the outreach weekend in 2006. And yeah, just experiencing God's love in such a different way, meeting people that genuinely just wanted to be together and be talking about God and finding out what God's plan was for in their lives was amazing.
Through Antioch, we had such a safe environment to grow our friendship and a faith friendship too. And I don't think we would have had such a strong foundation if it hadn't been for Antioch, giving us that space to be so deep, so quickly, really. It can take years in a secular environment to trust each other, but in Antioch, the environment cultures that, nurtures that.
When it comes to my vocation, Antioch has influenced me so much, especially with our chaplains. By their witness, by their words, by their teaching, it really impacted me, my faith, and also reignited a calling for me to join the religious life, which I used to have when I was a little child, which I thought was dormant. I was around 19 or 20 when this little calling, this inkling in my mind to maybe religious life is meant to be, or the priesthood is meant to be, by just being with Antioch and being around our chaplains.
One of the great success stories I've seen at the moment, we've got a number of young people who are very strong in Antioch, who only a handful of years ago were, in their own words, declared atheists, but were invited along and heard about this thing. So they came along with a very negative attitude and found themselves drawn in, and a number of them have taken themselves to baptism in the Catholic Church.
Being part of Antioch, I've experienced so much in my life, but key moments when we hold hands together and we're praying and we sing, and you know that the Lord is with you and you just feel His presence, is the most incredible moment that you can ever experience in life. And knowing that He's there to guide you with such an incredible youth group, it's such a great opportunity and something I'm so fortunate to have in my life.
Best moment that I've had within Antioch for the past year would be reconciliation. This gift of confession that we all have is such a gift that we've taken for advantage, and to know that this gift is at our disposal at any time in our life when we need it or want it is such a great blessing.
One of the big things about Antioch and why it's so significant is because there aren't many forums for young people to really own their faith. Antioch is really trying, not only in its own movement, but also to tap into the other movements that give our young people a strong sense of their Catholic identity and of what it means to pray, what it means to belong to a Christian community.
Not only is it relevant because I think it is really needed, I think it is, a lot of people need that sense of community and need that sense of belonging, and I know that is what Antioch has been for me. And also it is a place to explore your faith for people when they are finishing school, or they're kind of in these in-between phases of school and university and career. And it's also kind of bringing the church into the modern world and doing things led by the youth for the youth, and kind of navigating. It's kind of teaching the youth how to navigate the church in their own sense, I think.
Antioch actually has grown in Australia more so than in the States. So it's really been quite successful in Australia.
This is one of the things that Antioch does, is fires the spirit and asks them to go out and do something with it. And it really forms leadership and young people to actually stand up and say, I'm a Christian, I'm a Catholic, and I'm proud of it. Because that's something that doesn't always happen very easily.
We really need our youth to be part of our church today. They are the driving force, they give us the energy, and they are just such a dynamic component of any vibrant parish. And we're just so blessed in Henley. Henley Beach has got a thriving Antioch group. We'd love to see Antioch just be reinvigorated and just grow in the parishes. It is parish-based, so it draws young people into the parish, so they become part of the Antioch community, they become part of the parish community, and then they become part of the wider Catholic community.
I would encourage parishes to look at Antioch and consider it. Antioch has a 30-year history in Australia of being successful. At Antioch, they deal with the real issues that teenagers are facing, with mental health issues, with social group issues, with sexuality, with drugs and alcohol. These are the things that youth can actually support each other with, because parents are struggling to do that with their kids on their own, whereas young people will listen to each other because it's not a lecture, it's a sharing. And that's one of the things that I would encourage parents to encourage their kids to come along to an Antioch experience.
We really want your young people to own their own faith now. You've given them the faith, and now it's their turn to make it their own. And I suppose that's something we really hope for our young people, that through their experience of Antioch, their prayer life, their relationship with Jesus will deepen, and their sense of what a Christian community is about will also deepen. So that's our hope, to help our young people own their faith and become adults in the church.
Shalom World Television is coming to Australia. This is a great gift. It's been gifted to many parts of the world, and now it's our Australian turn to receive it with open arms. I welcome it, I bless it. It's going to really support family life, married life, youth, give us a resource that we know that we need really help great help in these areas. May Almighty God bless this new resource coming to our land, in the name of the Father, the Son and the Holy Spirit.